All right, everybody, welcome to Word on the Street, episode 83, powered by Lean Solutions Group. Trey Griggs here, and the street crew is coming in. First off, we got Coleman Ruffin. What's up, buddy? How you doing today?
Good. Living the dream one day at a time, right?
Living the dream one day at a time. That's right, man. Every day is a new day. It's always gets crazy around here. Ryan Rogers from Text Locate. What's up, buddy? How are you?
Hey, how are you, Trey?
These
Good to see you.
Silver Fox. By the way, I don't know if you noticed or not, but on What the Truck on. There it is right there. On What the Truck on Wednesday, I referenced the clothing line and Text Locate. I got both in there, my friend. I got both in there. So
I owe you big time for that.
I was thinking about wearing the Silver Fox shirt today, but out here on the golf course, it's not really conducive to that. So
you don't want to get it too sweaty and dirty out there on that golf course.
Decided not to go that route. But anyway, still appreciate the shirt. And of course, had a great time just talking about the partnership that we have, which we're going to talk about a little bit today as well.
Yeah.
Greg Roberts.
Thank you.
What's up, brother?
Well, not much. Got to wear the speaking of shirts.
Yeah, buddy, go Leatherneck.
knocking off Nebraska this week.
That's right. That was huge, man. That was just mayhem for the Macomites. Are they the Macomites? Is that what they're called there in Macomb?
Macomb homies.
Macomb homies.
There
That's
you go.
way better. That's way better than what I said. Rhonda, oh my goodness, back in the house. What's up? How are you?
Hi, everybody. Missed you all.
I know, so good to see you.
Good to see everybody.
You've got all kinds of initiatives you're working on. I mean, I know you're just crazy busy. You're hiking up in the mountains, Camelback and other places in Phoenix. So I know you got a lot going on. So great to see you though. Thanks for joining us today. Really great to have you on. Megan, what's up, girl? How are you? Hopefully you're on there holding down the Lou. Good to see you. Thanks for joining. Tyler Gilpin, did you kill anything? That's the question. Do we have any turkeys?
No, we got dead pheasants, but we got snow on the ground now, so get me out of here.
You got snow on the ground, bro? You got it. Yeah, wow. It's time to go to Phoenix, man. Time to relocate.
Yeah, Rhonda, I'm headed south.
That's right. That's the way to do it. Got to get out of there. And Nick Roomer in the house. Does Nick Roomer getting any sleep these days? That's the question everybody wants to know. Is there any?
I didn't before, and I'm not doing now either. Not much change.
Oh my gosh, man! But it's worth it though, man. You know that it's really really awesome, and just super excited for you. Just in case some of you are not aware of kind of what's been happening in Nick's life, we got some new additions to the family in Nick's world. In fact, let me see if I can share this real quick, and everybody can take a quick peek. We're gonna do This Week in Pictures a little early this week, so everybody can see this. Oh, it's so beautiful! Check this out. Look at this proud daddy right there. Oh my goodness!
Nice, congrats.
I thought I rocked that kind of like that.
It looks like you did your hair.
Yeah,
right
I was gonna say you look like picture perfect for
that's
that.
That's what it looks like. This was 3 days later. This was 3 days
what's that program called again? Scrubs, or was it called
Scrubs? Oh yeah,
Scrubs, yeah.
Yeah, there's that, and then we have the most recent baby picture here. I got to show this one off as well because this is just, oh my gosh, too cute. So check this one out. Oh my goodness, look at that.
Oh,
so cute.
So this is Lily. What's Lily's full name?
Lily Ann Newman Roomer.
Lily Ann Newman Roomer. Nice. Lily Roomer. Lil Rumor.
Yes, for sure. Yeah.
Lil Rumor. That's what I'm gonna call her. Lil Rumor.
Luckily, she looks like her mom. So.
Yes. Yeah, because that would be really bad if she looked like you, man. I'll tell you. You know what's funny is my youngest daughter Naomi, who, by the way, is with me today. I'm going to show her off here in just a minute. But my youngest daughter Naomi, her baby pictures look like mine. But fortunately, she started to look much more like her mother now that she's a little bit older. But my other daughter, her baby picture was just like her mom. So pretty wild. But congratulations nonetheless, going from 1 to 2, not getting any sleep. Enjoy, my friend. It's going to be great. Raquel, what's up? And is that John in the background? Sneaking in. How are you doing?
I'm great. How's everyone doing on this wonderful Friday? Hi, Rhonda.
Good. Raquel woke up on the right side of the bed today. I love it. I love it.
We're celebrating Mesa's 22nd birthday weekend. So, of course, I've got to be excited and ready for the fun.
Nice. Excellent. Well, it's going to be a great weekend nonetheless. We've got fall weather all around. We got snow up in South Dakota.
We're getting snow tomorrow, 70% chance.
Oh my gosh. It's too early for that.
Here.
Rhonda, do you know what snow is? Have you seen snow? Are you
Not
familiar with that?
So
It's like rain, but it's softer and it comes down very slowly, and it's like a pillow when you fall in it. Like it's totally different than rain. In case you're not familiar with that. Speaking of things that we're not familiar with, everybody, this week, last weekend, I guess we'd say, the NCAA and the NFL were absolutely drunk. I don't know if you guys watched any of the college football or the NFL. There were some very weird games going on, and pretty much the reason why we watch sports, because if the favorite team wins every week, what fun is that? But had some absolutely crazy, stunning upsets. We're going to launch a poll real quick and see if you guys actually watched any of the games, or if you don't care. I know Chris Jolly's on the call, and again, the likelihood of him showing up is very low, so we don't have to worry about him today. But go ahead and take care of that. I will say that the music content is a little low today. Well, I'm at a golf tournament, so I can't really play music. We're at the Houston Open today, so can't play any music today. So you're just gonna have to go without, or maybe I could sing a little ditty here while we're taking this poll. I don't know, but we'll see what happens here. I'll tell you something else I'm a little nervous about. So my daughter went to the restroom about 10 minutes ago and hasn't returned. So either she's doing some work in there, or I've maybe lost her. I'm not sure what to think yet. We're giving a little more time to see. We'll see what happens. She's gonna be embarrassed. Nobody mentioned that I said that. Nobody bring that up. All right, everybody. While you're taking this,
skew your numbers too much. I'm
always
not
do,
a
Raquel. It's
sports
okay.
fan.
I factored it in. It's okay.
I know
if there's some outliers, it's you, so don't worry about that. So everybody, while we're finished taking this poll and not enjoying music today, we do have the Silver Fox with us today. If you guys are not aware of who Ryan Rogers is, the guy with the really gray hair, like you think I got gray hair? Look at this guy. I mean, it is like the whole head. So the guy has ran with the Silver Fox theme. He's got a clothing line, but most importantly, he's got a new service we're going to talk about here in just a little bit. So thanks for joining us today, Ryan. Glad to have you on the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right, excellent. Megan, what's up? There you are. Rocking St. Louis. We're not getting any snow anytime soon, are we? I hope not.
I don't think so. Not in the near term. I haven't looked at the forecast, but I don't think it's going to be cold enough for a while.
It is supposed to dip down a little bit next week, so we'll see how low it gets, but no precipitation, hopefully. So, that'll be good. So, anyways, we'll see how that goes. But all right, excellent.
So, Trey, did I miss? Can you tell us where you are? What's going on?
I'm in Houston, Texas, at the Memorial Park Golf Course at the Houston Open, doing a little bit of media today and meeting with a client, LGI, and some prospects while I'm down here, and coming to the tournament tomorrow with some clients as well. So very excited to be down here, getting to see our brand ambassador, Jared Wolf. He's playing, and hopefully he makes 4 more birdies in the next 11 holes and makes the cut, because it'd really be good to see him playing tomorrow when we come out here. So yeah, we're down in Houston today enjoying the warmer weather, which is nice. So, all right. Great. Anybody else taking this poll? Is everybody done? Everybody done? What do we got? All right. Let's go ahead and shut her down. So a lot of reading in this one. I do apologize. I got a lot of reading today on some of these. So apologies at the beginning. But we're going to go ahead and end the poll in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right. Let's see if anybody watches college or NFL football. All right. Question number 1. Which NCAA football upset was the biggest surprise? We had number 3 Michigan State, after a couple of big wins, lost to Purdue. By the way, Purdue's good, and they're unranked. I don't even know why, but they're good. They've had some really good guys, and they have a wide receiver named David Bell. I mean, how do you pick against Purdue? How do you pick against Purdue when they have a wide receiver who kills it named David Bell?
I'll say this weekend's going to be the big test. We'll see.
I'm just saying, we'll see what happens this weekend. But
they lose to bad teams, though.
See, that's the problem. Like they're the kind of team that plays to their competition, and that's just not a sign of excellence. But those are kind of fun teams because you just never know who's going to show up. So if you're a fan of Purdue, it's got to be an emotional roller coaster. But they knocked off Michigan State, which was huge. 3 of you picked that one. Nobody picked Wake Forest losing North Carolina, because most people don't know that those guys play football. So I understand that. Number 12 Baylor lost to TCU. That was actually an in-state competition. That's that could go either way. That's kind of a rivalry game. I get that. Mississippi State losing to Arkansas. 2 of you picked that. 1 of you picked Minnesota losing to Illinois. And again, a lot of people don't, outside of a couple of Big Ten teams, don't even know that Illinois is in it. And then 2 of you picked other, and I'm going to assume that's Raquel and I don't know who else.
Rhonda, R&R.
And Rhonda and Raquel picked other. So very good. Yeah, I'll tell you, this is the time of year where it's fun, because, and college football is probably the most brutal sport, because those 19-year-olds don't get to make a mistake. I mean, they make one bad game, one bad play, and they're out of the opportunity to be in the college football playoff. Not out of a bowl game, but certainly out of the playoff. And that's crazy. So, all right, question 2. Which team is the best team in college football right now? Overwhelmingly going with the Bulldogs, the Dogs. Georgia. Ryan, are you a Dogs fan or are you a Tennessee fan being in Chattanooga?
Tennessee.
You're Tennessee. Okay.
They're playing Georgia this weekend. The game's tomorrow, 3:30 in
that's
Knoxville in England. Yeah.
No, that's big.
So,
how bad's the game going to be? Are you going to watch? How many quarters are you going to watch? One?
Oh yeah, I'm going to watch.
How many quarters?
I'm
You
going
to watch all 4?
I'm watching all the way through. Yeah. There's always a chance. There's always a chance.
Now, is Chattanooga split? I mean, I know it's in Tennessee, but it's right by Georgia. It's not that far from University. Pretty split. Okay.
I would say a little more Tennessee fans, but yeah, we have a lot of a ton of Georgia fans, obviously, and a lot of Alabama fans as well.
Yeah, you guys are kind of split because you're not too far from a lot of places, and you don't really have a big school right in Chattanooga. And UTC's decent size, but certainly not that big. Shocking here. Well, outside of Rhonda and Raquel, who are the others here, nobody chose Crimson Tide. That's a shock. And how come nobody picked my Ducks? They're number 3. Come on, give me some love. Pac-10.
You didn't say who was the top 3. You said who's the number 1.
Well, you're right, but I just wanted a little. I wanted one person maybe who didn't know what they were doing to pick the Ducks just because they like the name, but nobody in this poll did that. So
the Ducks definitely have the best uniforms every Saturday, though.
Every week of the year, every week. That's what they pride. I mean, they got Uncle Phil money, Yeah. So that's what they call him up there, by the way, in Eugene. They call him Uncle Phil. So pretty cool. And one of you picked Ohio State. They're always just like you just never know. Like they could just go on a run and dominate, or they could fall off. Who knows what's going to happen with them? We'll see what happens. So between different sports, NFL and NCAA, what would you rather watch? NCAA football on Saturday. Only one of you would rather watch NCAA football. Is that Ryan? Was that you? I don't know. 4 of you picked NFL on Sunday. One picked both, like that. Who picked both? Who's that? Who's the guy that just is not married? Who's that? Who's watching football 2 days a week on the weekend? Because that doesn't happen at my house.
That should have been me, but I didn't read the question.
I love the honesty. I appreciate it. And then 2 of you, of course, Raquel and Rhonda, neither. So appreciate that. All right. Question 4. Which NFL game was most surprising last week? There were some crazy games last week. You had the Browns blowing out the Bengals, which, they thought that'd be a competitive game, and nobody kind of, knew who was going to win that game. Kind of depends on who shows up. But the Browns killed it. One of you picked that. Broncos being Dallas. To me, that's got to be it. I mean, who would have picked the Broncos going into Big D and knocking off the Cowboys? It's pretty shocking. 30-16. Jaguars beating the Bills. How fun is it to watch a game with 5 field goals? I mean, what in the world?
I was going to say, I hope you're being sarcastic in answering that or asking that question, because it was not fun.
That is brutal.
I enjoy low scoring games when it's good defense. That was bad offense. Like there's a difference. That was not a great game.
Yeah, that's brutal, man. That's one of those games that everybody's just hoping to forget. All the Jaguars getting any kind of win, they're happy about that. Yeah. Nobody picked the Giants beating the Raiders, which I understand that, and 2 of you on the other. So good on that. Okay, question 5: when are sports better? Now, Rhonda and Raquel, you had to like this one. This question anybody can answer, right? So 6 of you prefer when the underdogs win. I love it. The underdog story is just unmatched, right? Yep. It's just unmatched. Yep. Nobody put when the favorite teams win. That's interesting, because sometimes it is fun to watch teams that are just better than everybody just dominate sometimes, but I get you. And then 2 of you when your teams win. That's always, obviously, that's pretty good. And then nobody picked when I put it in the off season because I thought Chris Jolly might show up, but he did. So anyways,
I was debating that because that's usually the only time my teams do any good is in the off season.
The draft, the trade deadlines, stuff like that.
Or your team is the favorite?
Spring training.
My teams, I've got the Cubs, who they had a brief year, and then the Bears, who are just not good. But the Bulls are good this year.
Yeah, the summer camp, the preseason. Yeah. That's when Greg's teams really show up.
There was a year where the Bulls won like the preseason tournament, and they were celebrating like they won the championship. It's preseason.
Yeah, let's not get too caught up in this one, boys. It wasn't that good. Yeah. Well, anyways, so some good stuff there. Hopefully we'll have some good games this week as well. I'm getting close. I mean, it's hard to believe, like, college football is down to a couple weeks, and then waiting for the playoffs, and then of course NFL. I mean, I know it's 17 weeks, but we're already in like week 10, something like that. So I mean, it's week 9, something like that. It's going pretty fast. So pretty interesting to see kind of what happens with that. All right, so let's transition to a little transportation. We had the FreightWaves F3 virtual event this week. By show of hands, how many people showed up for at least like one part of it? Everybody show up for a little bit? Yeah, a couple bit. Here's my question about these. I feel like the more virtual events that we do, the harder it is to really enjoy them. because you're always multitasking. I was talking to somebody else about this week. Do you guys find yourself doing that where you're working on something, you're trying to listen, and then, like I kind of want to hear what somebody has to say, but I kind of know what they're going to say because it's not that different from the last time we were there. I'm sure people feel that way about me being on there and some of the things. I mean, I'm kind of, talking the same stuff. So I just don't know that they're that valuable, and I just cannot wait for more in-person events. What do you guys think?
I feel like with COVID, obviously when we were not able to travel, it was a great experience for everyone to, kind of step away from the nuances of the day and the stress, and a way to build community. But now that we kind of know each other, I think that that face-to-face would be more appealing, and we'd be less distracted with other things. I agree, Trey. I think it served its purpose, but now it's like,
I think with the in-person ones, you can really choose your path. Who do you want to see? What do you want to go? Where do you want to go? With these virtual ones, I feel you're too restricted of what the program is. I think that's the first ones I didn't mind as much, but I think the more and more it goes on, I'm like, okay, now I just wait until this section comes up I'm interested in or want to speak to, or for me that's the biggest thing. But I can what was it last week, this week, when they finally announced international travel again to the US? So finally we can come
Let's
over.
Go, Nick Rumor. Let's go. Bring those kids over.
I like what Nick doesn't like about the virtual conferences is that I can just pay attention whenever I want to and turn it off if I don't want to listen to whatever it is that the person up there is saying.
Well, here's part of it, Tyler, is that you're not paying to be there. For the rest of us,
that helps.
For us vendors who are footing the bill, it's kind of miserable. It's kind of challenging because this is what happens, right? Tyler comes for one segment, he leaves, and I can't get in front of the guy, as a vendor. I mean, I want to make Tyler uncomfortable. I want him to have to look me in the eye, walk past my booth, all right, and make him uncomfortable. I can't do that at a virtual event. It just doesn't work. So
I'm with you if I was a vendor, but of course, exactly what you just said is what I'm avoiding at all costs if it's somebody I know I don't want to purchase from. So
I think it's clear that virtual events are great for the consumer, great for the attendee, but they're not very good for the vendors. I think that's kind of what we've learned from all of this, is that it's really great if you want content, you can get content. You can do a little bit of networking, certainly nothing like being in person, but you can do a little bit of networking. But man, it's it's kind of crazy. And in this stuff, really wish that they, I don't want to second guess Craig Fuller. It's his decision, but man, I wish that they wouldn't have canceled so early, because I think they probably could have pulled it off. Looking at things now, but you just don't know. You can't look in the future, right? There's no crystal ball. You can't really do that. Ryan, what are your thoughts about that being a Chattanoogaite? What do they call Chattanooga people? What are you guys? Are you the Noogies?
Chattanoogans.
Chattanoogans. All right.
Just
all right.
Nougat. Yeah. I was really, I know Craig probably made the best decision at the time, and he had to do that much in advance with this situation. But we were really looking forward to having a big event in Chattanooga, and the fact that Freight Waves is here, and what they've done is helped with Chattanooga, obviously, for Freight Alley, which my office is right down the street from Craig's there at the Freight Wave studio. And we're right here on the corner of Market and Main Street. But we were really looking forward to it, and especially our office. I could have walked to most of the functions. He was really putting together quite a setup for outdoor areas and things. And the weather this week has been really pretty good. So it would have been really a nice week for it. So I know he probably is disappointed that it didn't make sense, but I think he made the best decision he could at the time. But we would have loved it. I mean, I hope he is in a position to be able to bring it back here to Chattanooga. I think the next one's in Arkansas. So, but love to get it here for Chattanooga, because we have so much logistics business here and presentation. So, but the virtual events, I think it's a great attempt to, and I think their new platform is really was really nice and well put together. But I think it is a struggle, because many of us, even at conferences, we sit down and emails are going, and we've got our phone with us, and it's not as much as our laptop, but we still are getting distracted, but we can still hear something going on and then look up. And I think here the problem is a screen can get in front of a lot of those with virtual. I know I had it running on my second screen here, but I really need 2 more screens and a TV to keep it constant, which I used to do in my old office.
Yeah, that's the truth.
I think it's nice to be able to get the information, but for example, recent TIA one, they were able to do that when in person and virtual. So I think there is a place for virtual if people can't travel, or maybe the budget doesn't work. but they can at least be in and out of sessions that they want to be involved in. So
Yeah,
maybe a combo is a good way.
Well, I think there will be an element of virtual, kind of a hybrid event, kind of come up moving forward, especially for people like FreightWaves who can do that. They've already got the equipment to set up. They already know how to do that. That probably is going to be, going forward. I'm looking forward to the Rogers event. That's a place that most people wouldn't expect to go to. Really cool part of the Midwest and Northwest Arkansas near the Ozarks. So it's going to be a really cool spot, pretty close to my hometown. And so that'll be fun, but I do hope they bring it back to Chattanooga, because that would, that's going to be, that's going to be a really good time for sure. So we're going to pivot for just a second. I'm going to launch another poll because Ryan is here to talk about technology. So we're going to talk about that here in just a second. So while we're doing that, I want to get your take on where we're at with logistics tech. We just had the FreightWaves top 25 come out, top 100 come out. We, saw some kind of new things in the marketplace in the last 3 or 4 months. Ryan's going to talk about his new platform, which is really cool and is very simple, works really well. And so we'll do that. So go ahead and take that poll real quick, and then we'll chat just a minute. Did you get me something to eat? Oh. Or just yourself? Yeah, well, she's self-sufficient. I like that, so that's good. Why don't you eat that and then maybe go get me something?
Yeah, okay.
All right, perfect.
Sorry.
No problem.
How do I get you something, but I forgot that you said.
That's okay. You're good. All right.
Long poop. Not good.
All right, well, the mic's on, so let's not. Yeah, okay. All right. It was the first option, by the way, for anybody wondering what happened there in the little bathroom run there. So, all right. Oh,
she watches these later and she's going to be like, Dad, what are you doing to me?
It's my job, right? That's what I do.
Oh gosh.
Embarrassing, never hurt. There's a lot of reading on some of these today. I do apologize. I was in a writing mood today when I put this together. So all apologies on that. All right. Getting close, 9 to 10, almost everybody. Very good. We're going to shut this thing down in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. I should have had one of you guys doing music today. Man, I blew it. Programming error on my part. Rookie mistake. All right. Let's go ahead and talk about tech and logistics. And I'm going to give my man Ryan the floor. So let's take a look at this. Question number 1 is logistics tech moving fast enough? I know this is kind of subjective, but I just want to get a little pulse on it. Half of you, 4 of you say yes. 2 of you not sure, and 3 of you say no, it's not. I think I would fit into the no category, even though we're making some strides. I just feel like it's taking a long time for some of these newer platforms to really show some good results. I will say this: when I was at TIA, there was one panel that was talking about technology, and I literally felt like I'd been transported back into 2018 or 2017. The talking points seemed the same. What they were talking about, how they were trying to solve problems, it just seemed very much the same. So I thought it was interesting. What do you guys think? Somebody said yes, but yeah, you think it's moving, fast enough?
Do you guys work directly with truck drivers? Anybody here? I think it's moving fast enough for some of those guys.
Yeah, like the apps and being able to book loads.
You can only throw so many apps at these guys and so many issues. It's actually why I like Ryan's. I don't want to steal your thunder here, but I do like the concept.
We almost did it, Ryan. Almost did it. So we're building you up big here. You better come to play. That's right.
I'm trying. I will.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that for drivers, they're we're making some headway there. The drivers are starting to adapt some of the technology.
Yeah, but if you work, if you work on spot market freight and you've got 6 different brokers that tell you to download 17 different apps to upload PODs and accept tracking, like now you've got, are we buying this guy a new phone too, or what are we doing here?
Good question. I hope it accelerates. There's been a lot of money being infused into tech, and I hope that results in some really good technology in the next 2 or 3 years that comes out that changes the game. Because I think that the market's ripe. I think people are ready to embrace and adopt the technology. So I hope that happens. All right. Question 2, do you have sufficient time to evaluate and implement new technology? I find this is one I wanted to understand this because I know we're all so busy. Like, is this, how do you do this? Is this a strategy? Do you have somebody designated in your company that this is what they do, is try to, understand new technology? So 3 of you said yes, you do. 4 of you say yes on evaluating, but not on implementing. Which that seems probably, I would imagine that's frustrating because you're evaluating, but just can't seem to maybe find time to get it in. And then 2 of you don't have the time to do it. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, how should companies go about doing this with new technology out there and being massively busy, especially right now with the amount of freight that's out there? What's the right path forward?
I think what you have, it's always the implementing, because you've done something a certain way for so long. Anything new that comes in is always going to be not enough time, because you know something, how it's done, whether it was like Excel sheets, it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter, right? But anything that comes new is then all of a sudden it will take you a couple. But like I see it like this: you need to take a couple steps back or one step backwards to then make like a leap forward to excel your company again. You will never have the right time. And when people say as well, when it's the right time, it's never. Because there's always something else that can creep up. There's always something better because you've been doing it for the last 10 years. So it takes time, but that's needed. Unfortunately.
Yeah. I think that every company, especially a company that deals with technology, should have a technology and strategy team. A group of people, their job is to evaluate not only what's new out there, to work on implementation plans, but also to assess usage of current technology and make sure that it's being maximized before they're adding new technology. Because a lot of times you add a piece of technology and you might have something that can do that and you just didn't know it, right? And so having a team that's their job, to me, that's critical, because we're all so dependent upon technology to be profitable, to be efficient, to be competitive.
Once a week, we used to do what's new, and it was like either tech or either like what's new in the world of, it could be like trucks or whatever it is, and then someone would be chosen to say, okay, well, next week you're up. Just come up with something that you found in the news, whatever, and that's just making sure that we're not falling behind, because a lot of people are just like that, right? You're a broker, right. You're whatever your job role is, like you've got the blinkers on, and you never really outside your lane.
Yeah, and one of the things too is, along those lines is, thinking through. Well, I lost what I was going to say. It was really good. I'll just move on. Whatever. It was really good in my head. Moving on.
Real quick before we move on. Yeah. So IT, that's where my expertise is and where my entire career has been, except for my short stint at Sheer Logistics, where I was helping companies implement a TMS. But I think, IT in general, they are trying to keep the lights on. And then IT is also responding to business demands, business needs from, different departments, whether it be HR or finance or what have you. And I think that for our shippers, if the logistics team isn't going back to IT and saying, we need this technology, we need you guys to investigate what's going to work, we'll work with you, and having like those cross collaborative, cross function teams, I think that's where a major disconnect is. And IT is really busy, of course. And until someone raises this as an issue, I don't think IT is going to put any focus on it.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say, something along those lines, but you said it much more eloquently than I would have said it. So thank you for sharing that. But the idea that this group is actually going back to the end user saying, what do you need? Or what do you have trouble with, right? Having open kind of a feedback loop of communication within departments and that team to find out what you need or how they're using it or what's the problem or where issues are going. I think that's so critical. So yeah.
And the other thing too, real quick, is IT, and I think people in general, if you're not in logistics, because I came from outside of logistics is very, very complicated. It's far more complicated than I realized or appreciated. And I think for those that have built a career in it, like you guys, it may seem like second nature to you and all these things just are common knowledge, but I think for a lot of people, it's not. So I think people outside of logistics, outside of transportation, they don't understand the complexities associated with it. And if everything is going fine and there's not a squeaky wheel, then it's not going to get any oil.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think those are really good points, and I'm glad that you pitched in with your expertise, because I think you're so right on with those comments. So I appreciate that. All right, question 3: which company in the Freightways top 5 is making the biggest impact on logistics tech? Overwhelmingly, Project 44. Those guys are just a machine. I mean, they just continue to just grow and expand and create connectivity, and it's just amazing to see what they're doing. I mean, 8 of you chose that over Amazon or any others on the list, so that's pretty dang impressive in that regard. I think the others are doing great work, but I think Project 44 just overshadows all of them. work around that. And question 4, what do tech companies need to improve? And I wasn't sure exactly how to word some of these answers, but I tried. So 6 of you think, actually solving the problems in logistics. And I would agree with that. I think, a lot of times we try to solve symptoms instead of solving problems, so I think you're right on that. Making it easier to purchase. Nobody chose that. 2, improving the onboarding and training experience. This one to me is huge because I can't tell you how many times people have technology and they just don't know how to use it. They're only using a portion of it, right? I remember when Sonar came out in 2018, I went into a major broker's office. They had Sonar plastered up on the wall and TVs. I said, "Oh, cool. How are you guys using that?" They're like, "We're not sure yet. We're just putting it up there." I was like, oh my gosh. And I found that to be common. Like that was not an outlier, but that was actually a common response. We're not quite sure, but it looks good. We're putting it up there. We'll figure it out. And I think a lot of that has to do with a lot of platforms, just the onboarding and training, getting people really, understanding how to leverage that platform. It's an area where I think tech needs to be really honed in on. And then the next one there, increasing the speed of improvements, iterations. Somebody chose that. And then one of you chose other. What did I miss?
I think I was the one that chose. I was debating between the improving onboarding and training experience and then other. To kind of piggyback on what Tyler was saying earlier, I think a lot of it comes to do with not just the freight broker or the user experience, but the back end, right? And making sure that they're getting the buy-in. How can they make this more appealing? Because so much of the tech is essentially simplifying or making the communication between the broker and the carrier more efficient, more effective, right? Well, if you don't have the carrier's buy-in, and specifically down to the driver point, you're not going to be getting that. So, making sure that when you're bringing something to market, okay, you've got to satisfy the audience that sits in front of a computer and works at a desk all day, but you also have to satisfy the audience that is behind the wheel of the truck. I mean, that's the, and frankly, in my opinion, that's the more important audience to satisfy because they're the ones driving the
right
floor,
right. And I think that is a perfect segue to jump right into what Ryan Rogers is doing at Text Locate. So just to give a quick introduction, had a chance to meet Ryan probably a couple months ago, but we at Lean, we partnered with Ryan and what he's doing now at Text Locate. And it's been great to learn about what he does and to really see the benefit of his service with our clients. And so without further ado, Ryan, I'm just gonna let you tell everybody a little about what you're doing, how it works. And I think Greg's gonna really love it. So go right ahead. Oh, are you muted, Ryan? I think you're muted.
Yep, I started talking. But thanks Trey for the introduction, having me on. And the questions were really spot on. I thought it was really good. I had a lot I would love to interject in there. Some of my votes were, I do think we're moving fast enough. I do feel like that maybe if you go back to kind of when the freight waves really started pushing things out, I think it seemed like it was and was getting a lot more traction faster as far as like new audience, new people, new businesses out there. So I think during COVID, it kind of looks like it's slowing down a little bit, but I think it's gaining momentum. So I think we are moving pretty quickly. And really, like Tyler said, how much can the truck drivers that are actually using a lot of these products and adjust and change management? And for me, making it simple, like the product that I launched, Text Locate, it's all about a lot of these questions. How do you, we didn't invent something to try to come up with a problem to solve. We actually found a problem in the industry that needed to be solved. We tried to create a simplistic version. The onboarding process is super easy, super simple. I mean, we do have a training doc on our website, but it's very intuitive. We wanted to make it like the iPhone, take it out of the package, log into the system and start using it. And then I think Greg and Nick and Tyler all kind of commented on some things about the way we designed it. Is we created a platform that is user-friendly and easy for the logistics professional that's using their computer to have activity, as well as the driver to be contacted, directly to their phone. So what we have done is we've entered the visibility space, and like my vote was for P44 on that list because I think they've done a great job. And we don't feel like we don't compete with somebody like a P44 or the apps. We're actually a complementary product. So what happens is we were from 20 plus years. My background was US Express for many years, Covenant, and then Amazon as well. And from my background, what I did was identified in brokerage, we're still making a lot of manual check calls, and the apps are gaining, in the percentage right now, they're gaining ground and continue to grow, but there's still struggles with it. Drivers that don't want to be tracked and traced and followed, that don't download the app or don't know how to set it up or don't get connected with ELD. So we came up with an idea, myself, and I've got a couple of young technology partners that built the platform. We came up with an idea to simplify it via text message. So what we do is, as our name says it all, text locate, we use text messaging capability to create location updates. So all you have to do with our product is log into the system. You type in the driver's information, just like making a phone call. Think of it as digitizing the check call. You click, it sends a link to the driver. The driver receives a text message. Again, no apps. They click the link in the text message. It opens up. They hit OK to respond back with their current location. And then additionally, we have two-way chat. So you can have a two-way chat conversation immediately and quickly, and you can schedule future location updates, all that kind of all in one bundle together on the platform, again, without using any phone apps. So the resistance has been a lot lower because the driver doesn't have to download anything. Makes it super easy, super efficient, and quick to process.
Yeah, and I I promise you, Ryan, Greg and I did not practice that segue beforehand, but it was perfect. I mean, it was absolutely amazing going into that. I did put the Text Locate website in the chat box so everybody can jump on and take a look at that. And I really like what you said, Ryan, that you solved a problem. You didn't try to find a problem. You know, I've worked at Trucker Tools. I've worked at DAT. I know the guys at Truck Stop, Four Kites guys, all those guys are doing tracking apps. And they do a good job when they're accepted.
Yeah.
But there's a huge, population that's just still kind of not really interested in that. I would bet that it's probably somewhere around 40% of loads that are just not getting tracked through some sort of system. Maybe it's higher or lower, I don't know, but I bet it's close to that. And with that in mind, I mean, that's a lot of check calls. If you're doing, 500 loads a day, if you're a broker that's that size, I mean, that becomes a lot of check calls that people are making through the life of a load.
I think there's tens of millions of check calls made every day. And so what we're taking is the opposite approach. We're going over here at the phone call and we're saying, hey, we want to chip away from the phone call. We want to reduce the phone call side, not the app side. Let the app side continue to grow. And let's say the apps get to 85%. People say, hey, are you worried about that? No, because if they're 85% and my tool can be 10% and then the phone call's 5, we get the phone call down to 5% of dealing with exceptions that you need to do verbal. That's a win because that market size is huge. Think of all the logistics providers right now in the past 5 minutes that have made verbal check calls. So that's definitely that segment of the piece of the business. And it's really nice because when I talk to customers and I pick up the phone and I'm trying to sell, the first hesitation is, hey, I've already got a tracking tool. I don't need it. And I'm like, perfect. Use it to as much as you can. I'm not trying to replace that tracking tool. What I'm trying to do is give you we call it the superpower for visibility, is I'm trying to give you an additional superpower to reduce the phone calls and complement those apps so that we get more digital capabilities. And our response that we've heard back from drivers is they like it. They can respond when they want to. They can do it when they're not driving. They can do it at a truck stop, anywhere they are, just like you and I. I mean, I can tell you I get more texts a day than I get phone calls a day now. And drivers
I think we all do
that as well. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Now talk for a second about how customers are using the product. So obviously it's the track and trace locations, but there's other ways that you can use it that are really helpful from a brokerage standpoint as well.
Yeah, the track and trace is obviously number one. Well, I would say the track and trace combined with the two-way chat. So think of it, visibility for us is location and visibility of communication layer. So we're really being a communication tool for those check calls, updates, have you arrived, departed, all those kind of things. So they're using that today, which is obviously where we partner with Lean, and very excited to have that partnership to work with the team there, is that they're recommending, hey, you've got the human capital side that you can outsource and work with your team, the team in Columbia. By the way, you can actually layer in this tool to make them more efficient. So you're not trying to replace the human capital, you're just trying to enhance it versus them trying to make manual phone calls and drivers not answer. Addition to that, there's a lot of cool things that we're finding people doing. Of course, the chat, you can use it for any kind of functionality you want, but we're having people like pre-books. They'll send out a text locate just to make sure that the driver can pick up in 2 hours. Yeah, you know how you got a 2 hour window and
fudge
pick
that. I mean, that's not a problem.
No, I mean, it's rare, but other than every day when I talk to somebody on the phone, they say, yeah, I can make pickup. And you're like, okay, let me send you a text locate. The other one, it gets pretty common, is like helping drivers with directions. I mean, it gets complicated sometimes situation, whereas you can quickly get the lat long position. You can, if a driver's having trouble, you can say, hey, let me send you this message. I mean, literally it fires out a text and in a couple of seconds. They can respond and we get the result back in usually a couple of seconds as well. And you can find out, are they at the right door? Are they at the right side for the docks? Where are they located? They need some coaching or some help, some guidance getting in. Also team freight. So if you need team transit, you got less issues to worry about now with text locate, because you can actually send 2 texts, one to both drivers. Now, granted, a driver could have 2 phones, but typically they don't. You could send 2 text messages, make sure that they're the same location. So that way, if you need team transit, you're getting team power versus a third of the way through the load, that you find out that a solo shut down. You can use it from that standpoint. There's detention capabilities, tracking high value freight. You can put additional touch points in there with it as well. And then some of our logistics providers on the warehousing side, they're using it for when freight's coming in. Hey, give me your driver's phone number real quick and I'll verify how far they're out and when they'll be here, so that they can try to, obviously with the way things are today and just in time and production schedules, they may say, hey, if your driver's an hour out, but we close in 30 minutes, if I get that verification, I'll leave the doors open. We'll bring that product in and not lay over that driver and not wait for it to get injected into the system.
Now, I've got a couple of follow-up questions, but does anybody else have any questions for Ryan about this so far? Anybody curious to know anything about it?
I guess my question is, on the platform, is it showing you where they are, or is it just sending you back a location? Like, is it a map and a dot?
It does. Yeah. So the dashboard itself, what's really cool is anybody on the phone, anybody listening, what's nice is we actually have a free product. You can enroll, no credit card required. You just go to textlocate.com and sign up, and you can actually go in and try it the location side. You can try it and test it out yourself, send it to yourself, send it to a driver, test it out a little bit. But yes, it has so think of it like a spreadsheet dashboard that is just nice and simple and clean. It says, here's the driver that I've requested a update from. And then here's the most current recent information. We take the lat long and make it city, state, and zip. But we have 2 major links on there. One, if you click that, it'll take you right to Google Maps to that current location. So then you can map to your OD pair, whichever way you're doing pickup or delivery, just like you use Google Maps today. But the difference is we're giving you that starting point. So it's not like that this is rocket science. We're saying, hey, you need that information instead of you keying it in or trying to figure out where a driver's, like for us, I-75, if a driver says, hey, I'm in the middle of nowhere, I don't know what city I'm close to, and you're, as a broker, you're trying to get on there saying, okay, he or she's on I-75 mile marker, ours just returns lat long right to the point. And then additionally, there's an overview button, and it'll show you like breadcrumbs on the map, their recent pings all the way through. And what you're able to do is you can send a ping out to a driver to request, and then manually, then you can also schedule in the future. And then the link that they receive, they can actually proactively click it and respond back to you if they prefer to do that as well.
Awesome. Thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah. Any other questions? I've got some.
I've already hit Tyler up for a demo. I'm trying to get a nod over there that he'll commit to it. I've already seen him while we're on here hustling out. I sent him an email and said, hey, I want to set up a demo with you.
I'm sending a test to myself right now. I'm already on and logged in.
Tyler's trying to get out of the snow. Tyler. He's a little busy. He's a little busy with pheasants and snow. So, it's understandable. Okay. So my questions real quick is, can you schedule texts in the future? How does it work in terms of like, you have to manually do it every time, or can you actually schedule, like if it's a 3-day run, can you schedule every several hours? What is that like?
Yeah, so we're trying to avoid the several hour kind of response, because the reason being is drivers get really frustrated when those several hours just keep hitting and they actually make a delivery. So remember, I don't have the information on the delivery side. So ours is more like the digitized of the phone call. So right now it's a manual schedule. You just click in, you pick the day and the date and the time. You can do as many as you want. So you could, but you could put a few
schedule
out.
them out in advance, but it's not automated.
Yeah, you can schedule, right. It's not automated. You can schedule in advance. It's on our roadmap to create like maybe, a couple of day bundles where you could say, okay, give me 3 pings today, 2 pings tomorrow, that kind of thing. So there is an end, so it doesn't just keep after the driver. Right. But right now you got full customization to be able to put in any future time that you would like to.
Cool. Very cool. And then what about integration capabilities with TMSs and just the ability to connect to existing data?
So great question. We have a full API already up and running. We actually have customers that already connect to it today that are bringing it into their TMS systems. So we have a full API platform, and it's up and running. You can get set up really quick, and it's simple. Like when you actually log into the system, You want to become a customer, it's very easy. All you do is you start off with a free account, then you upgrade to whichever plan you want, put in the credit card. For example, API activates immediately. The tech team can generate the keys. We also have instructions of how to use the API already built into the system, so you can cell phone board. We don't have direct integration with TMSs today. It's something we're working on. That's one of those things where you got to build up your customer base, and then your customers start asking for it. And then the TMS providers, can justify the development side of it. So we're getting close. We've had conversations with quite a few people, but we definitely, when I was looking at this on the other side and have run brokerages in the past, there's a couple of key things. One, I wanted to be able to get up and running fast. Exactly what Tyler did is that he got up and running. He's got a free account, painless, easy simplification, have an API connected with it, be able to enroll quickly as far as a paid plan, get immediate usage. We don't have contracts. Everything's month to month, so it's easy to get up and rolling with very limited risk,
as they say.
Yes, very. Yep.
Very cool. No, it's awesome. Well, I appreciate you coming in and talking about that. We're excited about the partnership.
Yeah, thank you. This was great.
I think it has tremendous opportunity just to make people more efficient. Especially in that area where they're still making phone calls, and that's probably not going to change anytime soon. So this adds that element that's going to bridge the gap between the apps and the tracking and what they're doing right now with the calls. So appreciate you coming on and talking about it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you.
Very cool. Awesome. Any other questions for Ryan? Ask him about his clothing line sometime. It's legit. It's pretty good. The material is very soft and comfortable. I'm telling you, I wore it at if you watched when I was at TIA presenting at TIA, I wore it for that presentation because it was so comfortable. So thank you so much for the shirt.
You look sharp, Trey. It's got a little
Appreciate
bit of bamboo mixed in that thing.
I know. I need to give a shout out to apparel is being
Yeah.
brought to you today by, or apparel provided by. I need to go that route next time I'm over there. So it should be good. All right. So
Thank you.
we got a couple of people jumping in here. Kyle McNaught, what's up, buddy? And before you say anything, Diana, I thought that was you. No face. I thought that was you, but I didn't have the confidence to actually call you out on it. But welcome. Ryan, you don't know this, but Diana is historically known for coming on the show and never putting her camera on. But she's doing it more these days, which we're excited about. So great to see you, and Kyle, and Aaron is here as well. So what's up? How you guys doing? Kyle, what's up, buddy? How's Boston?
Boston's cold and rainy right now, but it's supposed to be a beautiful wet weekend coming ahead. Unlike you, so you're on the golf course. What you training for the Jolly Showdown?
I don't think there's much training that's required for that, just to be honest about that. But I am at the Houston Open here, so we're doing a couple things, doing some client visits, doing some media with Jared, our brand ambassador.
You gotta tell me how you pull this off. We're both marketers. I am rarely on the golf course as much as you. How do you do this?
Listen,
I need mentor me to tell me how I can be on the golf course more often.
I'm actually not on the golf course as much as you think. Like Nathan Frazier's on the golf course a lot. All right. Now I'm on the golf course for like trade show events and stuff like that, but Nathan's just out playing. So you need Nathan's life more than you want my life. Let me just say that. So that's what you need to figure out is how to get that going on. So, but anyways, all right. So last thing I want to talk about here, we got about 10 minutes left and we're going to close shop. We had some things happen in Washington this past week. We had the bipartisan infrastructure bill pass, and now they're talking about the Build Back Better agenda in a couple of weeks when they come back from their recess. What are your thoughts about the bipartisan infrastructure bill? Do we think it's going to actually produce what they say it's going to produce in terms of updating roads and bridges and stuff like that? What do you guys think about? Has anybody had a chance to kind of see what's in that thing? Don't everybody speak at once.
No.
John was talking about it. He had looked into it. We've been watching it pretty closely because I follow construction quite often. That's a lot of my product that I ship. So
yeah.
I'm really hopeful that it helps small business, but I guess we'll see how it comes through. I don't really know enough about it to say.
There's quite a few dollars in there for, I think, some things that are important. My hope is, and this is always the concern, is I hope that government spends it wisely and that things get done. That's my hope, right? But Aaron's not believing it.
No.
Yep. We'll see what happens. I think the biggest thing, I mean, and again, you have lobbyists, you got the awarding of contracts, you got so much that goes on behind the scenes with these dollars and how they're going to be spent and all that. So we'll see kind of what happens with that. But if nothing else, they can say they passed something. And I think sometimes in Washington, that's what they're there for, is just to say they passed something. I heard this one time that the most productive Congress, the way that they measure that is by how many laws they pass. And I would almost argue that it might be more productive to not to not pass a bunch of new laws, like maybe to keep things a little bit more on the status quo. But what are your thoughts about that in terms of, do you feel like this is something that the bureaucrats in Washington, they got it done, it's going to make a huge impact on our business? I mean, transportation is huge, roads, potholes, bridges, all that kind of stuff. Or do you think this was more of a political win for re-elections and things like that? Or was it both? Where do we fall on that?
I think that it's both. But I heard and I think that it will help, but there's an immediate need right now with the issues with the ports and how congested they are and the bottlenecks that you guys are all very familiar with. And it doesn't solve any of those problems quickly. I did hear on the radio that, this doesn't make any sense to me, so maybe you guys can enlighten me, but I heard on the radio when they were talking about this that they want to I guess expand the bridges or raise the bridges so trucks can have more containers on them. And I didn't think that trucks could do like a double layer shipping container. And raising all the bridges, I don't know how much that helps. So, and maybe I misinterpreted what they said, but I just shook my head. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense.
There's a lot of bridges out there, man. Can you imagine? Just think about like a 10-mile stretch in your city, how many bridges there are.
So, and I don't know, maybe they're talking about just within the ports and the areas around the ports, but it doesn't make any sense. Yeah. But I mean, they're talking about redoing a lot of bridges, I guess maybe adding lanes to it because they're trying to alleviate bottlenecks, especially during rush hour. So it not only benefits, the transportation industry, but also for those that are driving during rush hour and have to, go over bridges. But there's a whole race factor that was played to saying that this is going to be disruptive for the people that live by the bridges, and those are typically low income areas and people of color and things. So of course the race card was thrown in there too.
Commandeering land in order to do these kind of things in the cities, right? Like actually having to what is that called? There's an official name for it. Gosh, I can't remember what.
Eminent domain.
Yeah, thank you, Greg. I need to know it. Eminent domain. Yeah, so that definitely plays an issue, but it's always interesting to me that I like seeing cities that build roads and highways much bigger than they need. Because to me, it's very forward thinking. When I lived in Abilene, Texas, for example, I lived there for 6 months, 20 years ago. And when I lived there, they added 1 4-lane highway. All right. So 2 lanes each way. And it was under construction the whole time I was there, down to 1 lane for 6 months when I lived there. 1 lane. There was never any traffic. Right. Like Abilene didn't need a 4-lane highway, but they did it anyways because in my opinion, I think they were forward thinking. And I love it when cities like that, as opposed to like Portland, Oregon, which, don't get me wrong, I love Portland, Oregon. I lived there for 5 years. Portland doesn't update any of the roads because they're trying to force people into public transportation. So they're still on 4-lane highways in Portland, Oregon. So they got the same system that Abilene has in Portland, Oregon, and it's crazy. And because they want everybody to go to public transportation. So I like it when cities are forward thinking, but it is going to be interesting to see how that impacts. Everything's much more visible now. I mean, if eminent domain becomes a problem, it's going to be a problem on social media. It's going to be a problem to the public. So we'll have to see what happens with that. But very interesting ideas in terms of how this is going to play out, what's going to happen moving forward.
Do you guys think that it's going to affect capacity, given that truck drivers can take these sweet government jobs that are close to home? It's something that my subject matter experts keep talking about of, hey, this is good in the long term, but in the short term, if
it almost has to.
Right. I can be a construction worker. I don't have to drive. I don't have to be away from home. It's something that we're a little, bullish about, I guess, on our side of Freight Plus.
Yeah. It's a double dip. They could become a construction worker, or if not, and they're a driver, they're going to start moving loads for these projects that the government's doing and pulls them off for other things as well. So it could have a double impact in our car. But I think it'd be naive to think it couldn't have, that it's not going to have an impact. I think it will. I just don't know if it's going to be in 6 months or if it's going to be 2 years. Like, how long is it going to take before these jobs are actually happening? Like, how long does it take for the money to actually hit the ground and projects that have to be, permits and plans and all these kind of things have to be done before they can start working? It's probably not something that's going to happen in 6 months, but I would think that in the next 2 years, that's a very real possibility that, like you said, people want to be home. They'd rather, work construction. The opportunity to do that is going to be plentiful and pay probably pretty well, or at least equivalent, and not have to be on the road. It's very possible that could happen. Yeah.
I don't know because I haven't looked into it much, but does this bill consider, truck stops along the way or rest stops on the interstates?
I heard they were talking about it originally, but I have not seen the language. So I don't know what, if they designated money for that or not. So we're going to have to look into that, kind of see what happens with that. But
I would hope so. I just did a short trip yesterday going up from Chicago, just north of the border to Milwaukee, or a little bit south of Milwaukee, Pleasant Prairie. But like, you just see the trucks lined up on every exit, on every rest stop. The rest stop's full, and they're a mile after the rest stop. They're just on the side of the highway. I mean, it's
right.
So
how safe
unsafe.
is that? And
So
how are
unsafe.
insurance companies going to feel about that with these trucks, these, expensive trucks sitting on the side of the road and people driving at night, all those kind of things. So
Not just the safety, but for that human that's in the truck and doesn't have a restroom or anywhere to go,
or a shower,
right? Like,
or food close by. Yeah.
When I traveled, that's the one thing I noticed is why do we have all these rest stops shut down? They don't have to be manned 24/7. You can have an outhouse there and still have a place that somebody can pull over and safely change a tire or, get a couple of minutes of rest. But
yeah, put an Amazon store in there so they can grab goodies, food.
Yeah,
just
there you
walk
go.
out. I mean,
Maybe
we have the
Amazon will
technology-
fund it if you do that.
We have the technology to do some of these things. It's not like, so it's interesting. I don't know why they're all shut down, but I don't know if this bill does anything to address that or not. It's a good question.
It does include, this has nothing to do with that right now, I guess, but the bill does include like electric charging stations to build more of them. So, it'll hopefully encourage people to buy electric vehicles.
They better do that faster than, sooner than later, because they're cutting, oil, and it's making it pretty expensive. And, I think they're forcing the hand on that, but they better have a plan in place, to transition to. So hopefully that happens sooner than later. That's for sure. Okay, everybody, we're going to end today with This Week in Pictures, and I've got a special one for you this week. So you guys haven't had a chance to meet my youngest daughter. Most of you haven't. So this right here is Naomi, and she is 11 years old. She's dressed like a golfer today, and she likes to be out on the golf course. So we're going to have a little bit of fun, and then work with some clients. I got a couple of clients who have daughters as well, so we're going to do some daddy-daughter client events this weekend, which is going to be a lot of fun. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, we have a good time together. So it was an early morning, though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Got up at 4:15, 4:30, something like that this morning. So she's a real trooper, but we're going to sleep well tonight. That's for sure. All right, everybody.
Sure.
Hey, thanks for joining episode 83 of Word on the Street, powered by Lean Solutions Group. We will see all of you back here next week. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody. We'll talk to you soon.
You too.
Have a good